If lately you feel that something inside you is changing, if you wake up with a restlessness you can't explain, if the things that once fulfilled you now feel empty, pause for a moment, because what you're experiencing is not a crisis. You are not lost. Nothing bad is happening to you. On the contrary, your life is about to transform completely, and what you're feeling is the clearest sign that something extraordinary is beginning. Stay with me for the next few minutes because I'm going to reveal what this sensation truly means, and why the people who ignore it end up trapped in lives that no longer belong to them. What I'm about to share with you comes from an ancient Zen teaching that has guided thousands of people toward their true purpose. And believe me, once you understand this, you will never see your life the same way again. Let me explain what is really happening when you feel this. In Zen philosophy, there is a concept called mushin, or no mind. But before reaching that state of clarity, there is what the masters call the noise of the awakening soul. This noise is not something negative. It is, quite literally, your true essence trying to break through layers of conditioning, other people's expectations, and decisions you made years ago based on who you were then, not who you are now. Think of it this way. Imagine your soul is like a tree. For years, that tree has grown inside a pot. The pot protected you when you were young, gave you structure, kept you safe. But now, your roots are pressing against the walls of that pot. You need more space, more soil, more light. That pressure you feel, that discomfort, that constant restlessness, is not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that you're ready to grow beyond limits that were once necessary but are now suffocating you. Zen masters have a powerful teaching about this. The pain of growth is different from the pain of harm. One expands you, the other contracts you. Learn to tell them apart. And here is the key. Most people confuse the pain of growth with the pain of harm. So instead of expanding, they contract. They stay in jobs they hate, in relationships that no longer work, in versions of themselves that stopped being authentic years ago. Why? Fear of the unknown, loyalty to past decisions, not wanting to disappoint others. But there is a terrible cost to this. And here is something you need to hear very carefully, because it can change everything for you right now. There is a specific moment in every person's life, a turning point, when a universe sends a clear signal that it's time to change. And that signal does not arrive as an obvious message. It's not a celestial voice telling you exactly what to do. It arrives as a feeling of restlessness, of emptiness, of something being out of place. And if you ignore that signal, if you crush it with distractions, with excuses, with the phrase, "I should be grateful for what I have," then something terrible begins to happen. Not immediately, not in a dramatic way, but slowly, day after day, you begin to fade. Zen masters call this dying before dying. It's not a physical death, but something worse. Living a life that no longer has your soul inside it. I've seen this hundreds of times. People in their 50s and 60s who look at me with tired eyes and say, "I feel like I let my life pass me by, like I reached the end without ever really living." And do you know what the greatest tragedy is? Every single one of them felt the signal. They all felt that call. But they ignored it because it didn't seem like the right time, or because they were afraid, or because they didn't understand what it meant. Don't let that happen to you. Because if you're feeling this now, let me tell you something with absolute certainty. This is the right time. It's not too late. You're not too old. There aren't too many obstacles. Life is inviting you to be reborn. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to respond to that invitation. But first, we need to understand the signs more deeply. Let me share with you the 7 clear signs that your soul is awakening. And as you hear them, notice how many resonate with you. First sign: time feels different. Suddenly, you realize that the years are flying by, but the days feel endless. There's a new urgency in your chest, an awareness that your time in this world is limited and that maybe you've been wasting it on things that don't matter. Second sign. Superficial conversations exhaust you. You used to be able to talk about anything with anyone. Now, empty small talk about the weather, gossip, repetitive complaints. They drain your energy. You long for deep conversations, real connections, exchanges that touch the soul. Third sign. You question decisions you made years ago. That job you chose at 25. That career your parents approved of. That city where you settled down. Suddenly, everything is under scrutiny. Not from regret, but from a place of, does this still represent me? Fourth sign. You feel out of sync with your surroundings. It's as if everyone around you is operating on one frequency, but you're on another. It's not that you're better or worse, just different. And that difference can sometimes feel lonely. Fifth sign. Your priorities are changing radically. Things that once felt essential now seem trivial. And things you once ignored, creativity, nature, silence, authenticity, suddenly feel vital. Sixth sign. You feel an inexplicable pull toward something new. Maybe it's a hobby you've always wanted to explore. Maybe it's a place that's calling you. Maybe it's a completely different way of living. Something is pulling you, inviting you, whispering possibilities. Seventh sign. You experience moments of absolute clarity followed by total confusion. One day you feel like you finally understand everything. The next day you feel completely lost. This oscillation is not instability. It is transformation in progress. If you recognized 3 or more of these signs, there is no doubt you are in the middle of a deep awakening. And before we continue, I want to ask you for something. If this message is resonating with you, if you feel that these words are touching something deep within you, it would be a great honor if you would subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell. Why? Because this channel is dedicated to people like you, people who are awake, people who refuse to settle for small lives, people who understand that true wisdom comes from ancient traditions, but applied to our modern reality. Here we share Zen teachings, transformative stories, and practical guides to living with more purpose, presence, and inner peace. We are a community of seekers, of brave souls who chose the road less traveled. And if that resonates with you, it would be an honor to have you with us on this journey. Subscribe now. And now, let's continue. Now that you've recognized the signs, the most important question arises. What do you do with this information? Because this is where most people get stuck. They recognize that they need to change, but they don't know how. Or they're so afraid that they freeze. Let me share with you the wisdom of an ancient Zen master named Hakuin, who lived in 18th century Japan. Hakuin taught that there are 3 stages in any true transformation. The first stage is great doubt. This is where you are now. You doubt your current life. You doubt your past choices. You doubt whether things can truly be different. This doubt is not weakness. It is the first step of courage. It is your intelligence questioning what no longer serves you. The second stage is great faith. Not necessarily religious faith, but faith that life has something better prepared for you. Faith that if you take the step, the path will appear. Faith in your ability to reinvent yourself, regardless of your age or circumstances. This is the hardest stage because it requires you to move before you have all the answers. It requires you to trust the invisible. The third stage is great effort. Once you decide to move, you must do so with total commitment. Not with timid steps, but with absolute determination. Zen masters say, leap off the cliff and build your wings while you fall. It sounds terrifying, doesn't it? But here is the beautiful truth. That feeling you have in your chest, that restlessness, that sense that something must change, that is already the first step. You have already begun. Now let me give you 3 concrete actions, 3 practical steps you can take immediately. Step 1. Dedicate 15 minutes every morning to silence. Not necessarily to meditate, although that helps. simply to listen. No phone, no distractions. Sit, breathe, and ask yourself, what does my soul want me to know today? The answers will come. Not immediately, but they will come. Step 2. Identify one thing in your life that no longer serves you and let it go. It could be a toxic relationship, a commitment you took on out of obligation, a limiting belief about yourself. Let go of one thing. Just one. You'll see how that act of release creates space for something new to enter. Step 3. Do something small but brave every week. You don't need to quit your job tomorrow or move to the other side of the world. But do something the old version of you would not have done. Take a class in something that has always intrigued you. Start that difficult conversation. Write the first page of that project you've been postponing. Transformation does not happen in one big dramatic moment. It happens in 1,000 small, brave decisions. Let's return to Miguel, the man I told you about at the beginning. After our first conversation, Miguel understood that his restlessness was not the problem. It was the solution trying to emerge. For 20 years, he had worked in finance. He was good at what he did, he earned well, but his soul was dry. When he was young, he had dreamed of being an architect, of creating beautiful spaces that improved people's lives. But he chose finance because it was safer, because his family approved. At 48, that buried dream began to awaken. And do you know what was hardest for him? It wasn't the fear of failure. It wasn't the fear of losing money. It was the fear of disappointing others, of his family thinking he was having a crisis, of his colleagues seeing him as irresponsible. Zen masters teach something profound about this. The greatest obstacle to your freedom is not your external circumstances. It is your loyalty to the image others have of you. Miguel had to face that truth. It took him a year of careful planning, a year of saving more aggressively, a year of taking night classes in architecture, a year of honest conversations with his family about what he truly needed. And 2 years ago, at 50, he left his job in finance and began working at an architecture firm, starting at a much lower level than he was used to. Was it easy? No. Were there moments of doubt? Many. Was it worth it? 3 months ago, Miguel sent me a photo. It was the design of his first completed project, a community library in a low-income neighborhood. In the message he wrote, "For the first time in my life, when I look in the mirror, I recognize the man I see." That is the reward for answering the call of your soul. It's not necessarily more money. It's not necessarily more success as society defines it. It's something far more valuable. The feeling that you are living your life, not the life others designed for you. There is a Zen teaching I love. The bird does not sing because it has an answer. It sings because it has a song. You have a song inside you, a unique song that only you can sing. And that feeling you have, that restlessness, that sense that something must change, is your song trying to come out. The question is, will you let it out? Or will you spend the rest of your life with that music trapped inside you? Now, let's be realistic. Because I know that as you're listening to this, your mind may be generating objections. This sounds beautiful, but I have responsibilities. I have family who depend on me. I'm already 55 years old, it's too late. I don't have enough savings. What if I'm wrong? Let me speak to you with complete honesty about each of these concerns. First, responsibilities. Answering the call of your soul does not mean abandoning your responsibilities. It means integrating your true self into the way you fulfill them. You can be responsible and authentic. In fact, when you are authentic, you are more capable of serving others because you are no longer exhausted from living a lie. Second, age. In the Zen tradition, there is a famous story of a monk who began his spiritual practice at the age of 70 and attained enlightenment at 75. Someone asked him, "Don't you feel like you wasted 70 years?" And he replied, "No. Everything I lived before was the preparation to be ready for this." You did not arrive late. You arrived at the exact moment you were ready. Third, resources. Transformation does not necessarily require money. It requires clarity, courage, and commitment. Many of the most fulfilled people I know made their changes with very few material resources but with infinite inner wealth. Fourth, the fear of being wrong. Here is the liberating truth. The only real mistake is not trying. Because if you don't try, you will always be left with the question, what would have happened if? And that unanswered question becomes a weight you carry for the rest of your life. Zen masters teach, prefer the regret of action to the regret of inaction. The first teaches you. The second haunts you. We are reaching the end of our time together today, and I want to leave you with something you can carry with you. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, this is the perfect moment to do so. Why? Because the journey you are beginning does not end with this video. This is only the beginning, and I would love to accompany you every step of the way, sharing more stories, more teachings, and more practical tools so you can live the life your soul longs for. Subscribe now. Turn on the notification bell. Leave a comment telling me which sign resonated most with you. I would love to read it. And now let me close with this. If you feel that restlessness in your chest, if the things that once satisfied you now feel empty, if you have that persistent sense that there is something more, do not ignore it. Do not crush it with distractions. Do not bury it with excuses. That feeling is your inner compass recalibrating. It is your soul reminding you who you truly came here to be. It is life inviting you into a bigger, more authentic, more alive version of yourself. And yes, answering that call requires courage. It requires letting go of certainties in exchange for possibilities. It requires trusting something you cannot yet fully see. But here is the truth Zen masters have known for centuries. The seed must break its shell to become a tree. The caterpillar must completely dissolve to become a butterfly. And you must let go of who you were to become who you are meant to be. That feeling you have is not a curse. It is a gift. It is life telling you, there is still time. You can still choose. You can still truly live. And the beauty of it is that you don't have to have everything figured out. You don't need the perfect plan. You don't need to know exactly what the final outcome will look like. You only need to take the first step, and then the next, and then the next. There is a Zen teaching that says, the path is made by walking. It does not exist before you take the first step. It is created beneath your feet as you move. So trust that feeling. Trust that restlessness. Trust that inner voice that whispers there is more. Because that voice is the voice of your soul. And your soul always, always knows the way. Thank you for being here with me today. Thank you for having the courage to explore these deep questions. Thank you for being someone who refuses to settle for less than you deserve. If this message touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it. We all know someone who is feeling this, who is standing at that turning point. And remember, you are not alone on this journey. There are thousands of us walking together toward more authentic, more conscious, more fulfilling lives. Until our next meeting, may you find the courage to listen to your truth and the wisdom to act from it. Namaste.